Yeah, baby. Scenes from the Evolution. Every Tuesday. Can you believe it? It's amazing how that happens. I don't know what your calendar says, but I look at mine every week. Tuesday is right there after Monday, one day before Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 on the East Coast. Tori resides at an undisclosed location. Calm down, you stalkers on Rumble. I forgot the person's name who has a crush on you on Rumble is enchanted by your eyes. Or maybe she's enchanted. You don't know because they have the handles. You can't really tell what their gender is. Somebody has a crush on you. And Natalia Foley, if you keep joining us, I'm sure somebody will have a crush on you too. How are you, Natalia?
I'm pretty good.
What's wrong, darling? You don't sound so good. You unhappy?
No, I'm a generally happy person. So.
Oh, all right, good. See, I challenged her, and she rose to the occasion there. Thank you. How are you, Tori?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you doing, Jeff?
I got a lot of personal problems.
Yeah.
I need to be held, but there's nobody here to hold me. No, I was happy to find out that narcissism may not be all that bad. Natalia has an interesting take on Michael, who I completely ignored up until like yesterday, pretty much, because I needed to prepare for this podcast. And I now know that Megan spells her first name with an H. There she is. Mm-hmm. Can you tell by looking at her? She spells her name with an H. And Natalia, you have an interesting take on her. It seems like everybody hates her. And I'm halfway to being on your team, by the way, Natalia. I don't know that I like. She seems to be a little bit too in love with her own fabulousness, for my taste. But I really don't quite understand the level of hostility and the way some people are obsessing over her, to the point where it makes me, want to defend her. What's your take on Meghan Markle and this whole thing about she's not really a narcissist? You said she's a borderline narcissist. What's the difference?
Yeah, that's a huge difference. And by the way, do you know that Meghan is her middle name?
Oh, I did not know.
No,
it's her middle name. She chose to be Meghan for some reason. And when we are talking about her, I didn't pay much attention to that personality for a while until I realized that everyone is calling her narcissist. And what they base that on, they're saying, every time she's talking about something, she's talking about herself. It doesn't mean that she's a narcissist, by the way. It means that she's sharing her experience. She doesn't have much experience in her life. She has very regular experience, like a very regular girl. And she was going to the private school. She was going to some good university. Then she was married, divorced, was doing some work in the movie industry. And by the way, she was not really, really grossly successful. Where she was successful, and that woman has tons of ambitions. She was successful, by the way, with her first podcast on how you call it, Instagram.
Just make it up. We don't have to be accurate here. Just make it up.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But she is not a narcissist. What is narcissist? Narcissist, and we're talking about narcissism as personality disorder versus to narcissism, which is normal part of our personality until it requires some clinical attention. Narcissist is a person who is sick to the extent that he has some mania grandiosa, he requires excessive attention, constant attention, admiration, and admiration not just on case-by-case basis, but
why do let me, because I have some video that exemplifies what you.
Let's talk about the video.
Yeah, it exemplifies what. After we show this, I want to hear from you why you think people are reacting to her this way. What is it about them? Because you mentioned a minute ago that she's talking about herself, which some people perceive as like the worst thing in the world for some reason. And here's an example. This is Piers. What's his name?
Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan, mm-hmm. Right. And
the guy who lost his job because of her, by the way.
And there were other people too. It wasn't only Piers Morgan. There's different versions of people reacting to this speech, where Meghan Markle gave a speech at the One Young World Summit. So she's talking to an audience of young people, and she's giving a speech about how when she was younger, like their age, your age, she's saying to the audience, I was filled with self-doubt, and then I grew confidence. And this is like totally appropriate, it seems to me, to say to the audience. And they're making fun of her because she refers to herself over and over in the speech. But it's like, well, if you're going to talk about how you used to be and then grew confidence as a way of inspiring children, well, of course you're going to say yourself over and over again. So to me, it's like, why are you even mocking this? But watch the way Piers Morgan does it.
Stuck to her specialist subject, the one she currently really loves, which is talking about herself.
I'm so grateful to be in your company today. I was first invited to be a counselor at One Young World. I was probably a lot like each of you. How am
See
I
the bell, the
here?
countdown every
There
time
it
she
was.
refers
I
to
was
herself.
The girl from Suits. And I was surrounded by world leaders. I was so overwhelmed by this experience. I think I even saved my little paper place card. Proof that I was there. I belonged. I was so nervous. Oh, I doubted myself, and I wondered if I was good enough to even be there, if what I was doing in the world, albeit important and meaningful as far as I saw it, was it deserving? One Young World saw in me just as I see in you. My life had changed rather significantly, and I was now a mom. And I would ask, what is this world he would come to adopt? And what can we do? What can I do to make it better?
So what's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing, in my opinion.
You see, they really hate her,
Why?
and the reason why is unclear, because she is trapped in the leftist ideology that she is promoting, and they use her as an icon for them. But what she really wants, she wants to be recognized for her achievement. And when we will be talking about achievement, we have to define what it is. What do you think is achievement in someone else's life? Jeff, what would be your take on that?
Ask me that again. I'm sorry.
What is a lifetime achievement for someone to be recognized for his or her achievement?
There's nothing wrong with it. To tell you the truth,
What is the achievement? How would you say that person deserves our attention and admiration because of this and that? What the person supposed to achieve that we admire that person?
Something virtuous, right? They have to show character. They usually, it's like they.
Sorry, you're on the right track. Yes, we judge person by their character, and that's what Meghan Markle is denied. Everyone is judging her just by color of her skin. That's what she doesn't want, but that's where she is trapped because of the ideology that she is signing up with. And notice what she's doing. She's going to some new place, like a royal family in her life. It's not an easy undertaking. And the only thing that she's complaining that they don't judge her properly because of her skin color. It's not true. Maybe they don't even think about it, but that's how her brain is wired. Unfortunately, because of the environment that we have here in the United States. And she's a product of America, not product of UK, unlike her husband. So she wants to be recognized for her achievement. And what is her achievement? Look, she came from single mother household. It's not an easy position to be. Her mother raised her alone. Father was helping, and that's why she has a difficult relationship with father. She has difficult problems with attachment because father abandoned her when she was only 2. Yes, he helped. Yes, he was present on weekends, like we know many parents, probably because of the court order, but she felt abandoned from the very first day of her life. And that attachment issue is usually carried on with by the person throughout their entire life. So she brought that into her relationship with Harry as well. Now, who is the narcissist here? Narcissist is the person with mania grandiosa. That would be her husband, not her. But
how is he demonstrating narcissism?
Look at him. What would be the trait of the narcissism? Like when we mention that, like negative connotation, what would you say? Why would you call a person a narcissist? Give me some idea, like Tori or Jeff. What do you think? Who is narcissist?
Well,
what
Tori's
makes someone
obviously a
a
huge narcissist.
someone? I'm not too familiar with narcissism. People
Okay,
throw
let
that
me
word around.
help you. Someone who has inflated ego. Would you apply that to Harry? I would. He is all about grandiosa. He never cares about his family members, his brother, his grandmother, his father. He cares about nobody. He only demands that they will care about him and his alleged suffering. And who can believe in suffering of a prince, right? So lack of empathy, that would be a second very serious trait. When he was going with Meghan is American product. It's natural for her to go on all shows. The royal guy, the prince, is not American product. So for him to go to some show like Oprah and claim that he was mistreated in his royal family, it's a really big no. He doesn't care. He didn't care at that moment what his grandma will be feeling, what his father will be feeling, or brother. So lack of empathy, that's him. Inflated ego, it's him. Need for attention, he constantly wants some attention. That's why he was dressing in Nazi uniform and doing Sieg Heil at some parties. That's why he was partying in Las Vegas with different prostitutes. He wanted to be the center of attention of any media, no matter what he's saying. He is constantly reassuring us about his insecurities, no matter where he goes. If Meghan is trying to share her personal experience, whether limited or not, he is trying to share his personal insecurities,
All right.
saying
Don't read notes. You don't have to make
So he's
a speech or convince us.
that's my point,
All
and
right.
she's not.
So I haven't even seen the guy, so I have no way to like really get in on this. But what about my previous question, Natalia? What is it? What does it say
Why
about
they don't
people
like her?
in Oregon that they, for some reason, perceive a totally normal speech in which, of course, somebody would be referring to themselves? What does it say about them that they perceive that as somehow inappropriate for her
Because
to be
Meghan
referring
approaching
to herself?
everything from the false agenda. She's trying to say that even though she's black, she's good. But it doesn't matter. Who cares what color of the skin she has? She came from a very average childhood, from a single mother upbringing, and she was able to achieve so much. She was able to create, actually, her net worth before she got married with Prince was $6 million. And for a little girl from California, it's a great achievement.
All right. So the reason people think it's inappropriate is what?
Because she is presenting herself from the wrong angle. She's saying, you have to love me because I'm black. And it doesn't matter for people. Actually, believe it or not, people are not that racist. People want to judge someone because of the character and the merit of their life. And being judged on a merit, this is something that is very bad from the liberal agenda. They don't accept merit. But Meghan has merit. She just cannot present it because she's trapped in that racist ideology. And that's why people don't understand her. She achieved a lot. Maybe she doesn't have a talent as an actress, maybe, but she has a talent as a manager of her own life. She knows how to reach to the point where she wants to be. This is, to me, a trait of personality that I can admire, but she never shows that as important.
All right. Well, I have to watch her some more to really have an opinion. But as I said before, she does seem to be in love with her own fabulousness. But to me, that's that's mildly off-putting. There's plenty of people who, have, sort of imperfect personalities. The intensity is just bizarre, don't you think, Tori?
It reminds me of like the hatred for Trump. I mean, for like all these people, like it goes on to another level, and it's like that recreational outrage that people like love to hate on certain people. I don't know if it's like a scapegoat thing where you kind of project your own shadow on a specific person, because I don't know about you, but there are times like in my life where, someone might be really bugging me. It's like I develop a complex towards them, and then it's like everything they do has like the shade of like they're an awful person. Like the way they speak is awful. The way they carry themselves is awful. You end up like hating everything about that person, and it's hard to differentiate things that you dislike about a person and who they are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like there's, I've had it happen in my life where I know someone and then like they get on my nerves and it's like everything they do, it makes them a horrible person. And I think with Trump and all these kind of people, like they love to hate Kim Kardashian, like people like love to hate on certain people. And it's like this cliche.
Well, I think you're talking about confirmation bias. So you already have a bias for somebody, and then and everything you see kind of confirms your bias, even though it's not really there.
I feel like it's bigger than that though, because there's so much energy that's I don't know, that person is attracting.
It's just completely illogical the way.
He is hated because he attempted on the very system that brought him up. He violated someone else's rules.
You got Trump now?
Yeah, I'm talking about Trump.
Trump.
So people usually hate someone when you violate their life rules that they establish for themselves, when they don't comply with your rules of living, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And when there is just one prince in a world, and every girl is dreaming to, about her prince, and Meghan is the one who got that prize, would it be natural to either hate her or admire her?
And like you said, like they're not playing by the rules. Like they're trying to distance themselves from the monarchy, right?
Yeah, their problem is that they have pathological relationship, because why I'm labeling him as a narcissist, because I truly believe he is, and while labeling her right now, I'll give you my label for her, which is not a good idea, but I'm doing that to help you to understand who she is. She has borderline personality disorder. She was abandoned by the father, I just mentioned that, and that anxiety in the relationship drives her through her life. And that's why, Jeff, do you have that video where she's grabbing a hand of her husband with her two hands?
I don't have that ready, but I watched it. I know the video you're talking about.
Yeah,
and I saw the body language expert making a big deal out of that. And
those experts are no experts at all. What I want you to be experts right now. Can I ask you to do little experiment right now? Take your two hands and grab something in front of you, regardless.
Hey, take it easy. We have this is a family audience, Natalia.
Grab some table, grab some item on the table, and stick with it like for a second.
I'm grabbing my phone right now. You need to see it on camera, or
Now I want to ask you what kind of emotions you experience when you grab with your two hands something. What do you feel?
Secure.
Suicidal. I'm ready to jump out the window now. No, I don't feel anything at all. I'm supposed to feel an emotion now from grabbing my phone?
Yeah, I don't know. Grab it really, really hard, so it might make some noises. I
feel sad now. I need to be held again.
Does it make you feel more secure? Does it make you feel more safe or something? Or?
It makes me very anxious when I'm grabbing my desk right now.
Oh, okay.
Like out of all my power using for that, it makes me feel anxious. And when
therapist, heal thyself.
When Meghan is grabbing Harry's hand with her two hands,
right,
it's nothing else but representation of her anxiety, of her an insecure, probably attachment style. That
right. So this body language experts, just so the audience knows, I don't know if we can actually get it on the fly here. I don't have it prepared to insert, but the body language. There's a body language. He's a Hispanic dude, speaks with a Latino accent. I don't know what country he's from, and he's made a bunch of videos analyzing her body language, and he makes a big deal out of every. He said, when she was grabbing her hands, that she's controlling him. When he's talking to somebody, she puts her hand on the body. Even if he's right, it's like, so what? This is like, again, it's like Piers Morgan. It's making there's a little something to what they're saying, but the intensity of it makes them seem like there's
Piers
mentally
Morgan is a UK product, and now
Yeah.
Meghan Markle is attempting to be a part of the royal system, which is a holy cow for every Brit person, right? So he was naturally against her just because she's a stranger. And but she didn't want to bow him or accept the system. She came with her rules. Being an independent woman from America, she came with her rules and she wants to live her life with her rules. I cannot blame her for that, honestly. And when you step in her shoes and you see how difficult it was for her to get there and be there, and she wants an admiration as a person who achieved a lot in her life because she's a good manager of the life. If she would present herself from that angle, maybe she will get more understanding. But she's saying, no, everyone doesn't love me because I'm black, which is not true.
Yeah.
It's not.
Where did you get this thing about the black thing? I mean, how do you know that's the
because-
issue?
How she was complaining that the royal family was worried what color would be of her children, and that was a big racial issues that was like disturbing the whole UK. They've been talking about it for the entire year.
Okay, I'm looking for the Tori. You take over. I'm going to try to find the body language video.
All right. Well, have
So,
you?
Tori, I want to ask you one question. You just mentioned that sometimes you feel some negativity about people around you, and you cannot even pinpoint what it is.
Well, like, yeah, I don't know if it's a pinpoint, but I just dislike them. They're the worst person in the world. There's nothing redeeming about them. Like, that's kind of like what it goes on in my head. And I know it's not right. It's, I think, like the way I understand it, it's like I developed a complex with this person, and I don't know.
So
whatever, yeah.
whatever concerns they have and their behavior manifests that, you are dismissing that for some reason. For some reason. Would it be accurate?
Say that again. I'm dismissing their behavior.
Dismissing their behavior, which probably is manifestation of their inner problems.
Yeah, like there's things that bug me about people or like a certain person I'm thinking of. They're just constantly trying to intervene in my life. And you know how some people are just too helpful. They're too nice, where it's honestly kind of harmful that you're too helpful because, you know, I can do things on my own. And if you do.
And you want to yell at them, leave me alone, kind of.
Yeah, and they won't. And then, like, even just the way that they talk sometimes, it's like they're just talking meaningless noise.
All right, I found the body language guy.
Okay.
Okay, let's watch it for a second. I want to come back to that, Victoria.
Most recent appearance of the Harkles at the United Nations when Harry was giving his speech. Well, they were sitting, this is before he given the speech. They were sitting together. Harry was quite relaxed, and you can see his hands on his legs. And, well, Meghan said, maybe Harry is smiling too much. Let's correct that, because you can see that Harry was, smiling at that moment, with genuine smile. I think it's a genuine smile. But then, Meghan goes and grabs his hand. And you can confirm that Harry was still smiling at that moment, okay? And Meghan does it casually, in even looking away. She was looking at him and then looks away. When the moment she touches his hand, what happens with his expression? Let's see it in slow motion. It changes completely.
I don't see anything.
The other way, like hiding his expression from Meghan. You cannot unsee that.
I cannot unsee it. I can unsee it easily. I can unsee it easily, actually.
Doesn't it remind you of Trump, where they like investigate the smallest thing and then they blow it up and they're having
and the white shoes, for example, of Trump.
Exactly. The sneakers. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is like, to me, this would be like if there was a crime committed or something, you would need a body language expert to like really pick it apart to figure something out. This is the most normal thing in the world, though. A husband and wife, and she touches him. He turns his head. Like, what is wrong with people? Somebody wanted to see one of the comments. Yeah, it's because they're the royal family. Of course, that's why. But it doesn't quite explain the exact way they're responding. Let me show you Michelle Obama also. It's like it's. I mean, maybe if I was British, I'd understand why the royal
So
family.
what Meghan was doing over there on that video, grabbing Harry, it was not conscious. It was rather subconscious. It's coming from her inner self, and she cannot help it. She's not doing that to embarrass him or embarrass herself. She's doing that because that's how her body is reacting to the situation where she is. Remember, she was born in a normal family, like father and mother who divorced when she was 2, right? And she never been in that rural environment, even though she adjusted, even though she was probably given some lessons how to behave. She's still anxious, and she's very anxious in that relationship with Harry, who is narcissist. So her attention to him is fitting his disease, basically. That's why when people are saying, oh, they will divorce soon, I don't think so. Because that pathological
is one of her parents white and one black? Is that it?
Yeah, her father is.
I'm so proud of myself.
white.
I never pay attention to race. Like I'm only even saying it now because you said
Exactly.
she's black. I don't even
Exactly.
think of her. But I saw her
But
mother.
maybe,
I saw her mother was black, and
yes,
so her
and father who was
her
embarrassing her a lot was white, and he is white, and she has the issue that she has with her through her entire life, and psychological subconscious issue that she's dragging with her through her entire life. And why it was important what I was asking Tori when she was saying that some people actually triggering some negativity from her. Because
let's listen to this kooky body language expert more.
His hand in a controlling gesture.
Controlling.
See that her hand is absolutely covering him, his hand.
Absolutely covering him. How else do you hold hands with somebody?
He lets go of it. Let's go. He lets go his hand. Notice that. Notice what's going to happen going forward. He takes his hand away. Like, don't grab my hand. Do not do it. You saw that. We all saw that.
You're right, Troy.
And
This is
moving
like Trump.
forward,
Remember when what's
she
his name?
is
His
not happy
wife
with it,
wouldn't
and
necessarily
then
would want to hold
does
his
the
hand all the
double
time. They made a big deal out of that.
Like, you're mine.
So that's a black guy
Give
next to
me
Harry.
your
Maybe it's
arm
a
because
father
you're
figure to
mine.
me.
You can
See, I'm making shit up now too. Anybody can make stuff up.
Comfortable to watch that progression. Let's do it from the beginning
He
again.
says it's
They're
uncomfortable
smiling.
to watch. Is
He
it uncomfortable for you guys? I'm not
relaxed,
uncomfortable.
hands
no, I'm very comfortable.
and he touches his hand. He is not pleased because he looks away and his expression changes completely. And he
And he did a
Let's
replay
correct.
like it's a sports game, you know, where they replay in a football
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
instant replay of the hand clasp. Unbelievable.
Can you imagine
sorry,
that? That is 756,000 views.
Yes.
A lot of people. There's a market for it. People want
Oh, yeah.
to watch
It's
that stuff.
All right.
It's
Yeah.
what's
So
amazing.
Well, listen to, and so Michelle Obama's doing some show. Listen to her. She's not like commenting in the same way, but just another, a different type of like making a big deal out of Meghan and Harry. Listen.
Hope for. And the thing I think about is that this first and foremost is a family. And I pray for forgiveness and healing for them so that they can use this as a teachable moment for us all.
And that's her comments about the race, right? Like she's talking about how the comments that Meghan Markle received.
Oh, maybe, yeah. I don't know why she's praying for. I don't even understand prayer. That's a whole nother thing. What is prayer? What is prayer? When you're praying for somebody else, how does that work?
Oh, that's very interesting question, by the way, Jeff. You know that when you pray,
specialty.
Prayer basically it's your communication with God, whatever God you believe in. So you are asking God for something when you are praying, right?
With hair.
But when you are praying for someone,
go ahead. I know. I mean, what is it that people think about it? I don't understand. Even the people who claim to believe in prayer, I don't even understand how they think it works.
They believe that she is misunderstood and not liked just because.
No, I'm talking about prayer. What is prayer? What is prayer? Tori, you're the religious one. What is prayer?
I mean, I don't think I'd be able to articulate it. Plus, it's hard to like I can understand praying for yourself and praying to God and things like that.
Yeah, me too, because then it's kind of like positive thinking and that sort of thing. But I don't understand. That's a good distinction. The part that I'm really confused about is praying for somebody else.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You're petitioning to God. What does it say about God that, you've got to lobby him effectively, or else?
Or it's like intention. Like there's something with the power of intention, the power of attention. Like if you can, intention is, there is an effect with that.
There is a purity when you pray for someone else. You are not doing selfish act, because when you are praying for yourself and you're asking God to give you this and that and forgive you or help you, it's very selfish. You are asking for something for yourself. But when you are praying for someone else, you are doing like very selfless act. It's purity of prayer. And what they're saying, that God is listening to those prayers better than for your own prayer. I don't know. I'm just...
All right, let me also interrupt for a second. We have a new producer, Eric Foya. Welcome, Eric. Eric, don't forget about the comments, okay? I see some comments there. I hope you didn't fall asleep. Welcome. Maybe he'll start inserting them. If not, I will. Okay.
I'm not asleep.
Oh, okay. Hello, Eric.
Hello. Hello.
Guess what country? You want to come on camera, or did you floss?
No.
You don't. Can you tell what country he's from, Natalia?
No. Jeff, can you read that message from George Gillan, I believe, from Scotland? Yeah.
Oh, that.
Because she's an absolute bitch.
That's one reason.
Would you consider her?
He might be. I might be persuaded to join the hate Meghan camp more if I see some evidence. I'm just saying, from the evidence I've seen so far, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know who this reminds me of? I don't know. This might be a crazy comparison, but I remember before I actually found out who Miley Cyrus was. It was just a name. I knew she was a young kid and she had a child audience, and a name. I kept hearing it. And then Sinead O'Connor issued this public letter, like chastising her for being too slutty, basically, and saying she's going to ruin her career and this and that. And that got me to check out Miley Cyrus for the first time. Like, who is this Miley Cyrus? And I was like, and I was stunned. She's like a great singer. I'm not necessarily in love with her whole catalog, but when I like the type of music she's doing, she is a great singer, great performer. And so it's like, it reminds me of the same thing. The criticism is what got me to pay attention. And then I wound up liking the person that was being criticized. I'm not sure if that's going to happen with Meghan Markle.
Jeff, can I say something? It's very important. In regard to Miley Cyrus, I can remind you two more names. Tell me what's similar about them. Michael Jackson and Britney Spears. Those are kids. Those are kids that were performing throughout their entire childhood. And they didn't have, therefore, a childhood. They didn't have time to experience life like a normal person. They didn't have time to grow up. They didn't have time to mature emotionally. They've been just put into that entertainment industry, and people were taking advantage of them. Same as with Miley Cyrus. Whatever she's doing right now, she probably had to do 10 years ago, but she couldn't. She was working hard to make all that money and name for herself, a reputation. So I would say, when we are talking about them and we accuse them or something, we have to remember, we have to have some empathy for them and feel for them, because they never, ever.
Yeah, and Sinead O'Connor has her own trip. I mean, she's like one of these women who has like a very specific concept of how women are supposed to behave. And she assumed, I can't remember word for word what she wrote in this like public letter to her. She like assumed that Miley was being manipulated by the males in show business who were taking advantage of her. And it took me about 5 minutes to realize she's not being manipulated by anybody. This woman is like more in control than hardly any celebrity. So that was more just like a reflection of Sinead O'Connor's problems, I think.
I see. But they assume that the person they're criticizing is the person they know. But it's the assumption.
No, she wasn't criticizing her personal life. She was criticizing her public persona and
Yeah,
how
I understand.
how
I
slutty.
understand.
She's saying, and when you get older and you no longer have that body and you can't, like, what's going to happen? Nothing. She's just going to keep being a great singer. That's what's going to happen.
No, look at the Britney Spears. I'm sorry, diverting from Megan, but look
Yeah,
at
but she's not a great singer. Miley Cyrus is a great singer.
Wait.
Britney.
She is 40 right now, and she is placing her nude video now that she get independence and got married
Yeah.
again. She is acting like a girl, 13 or 15 years old. Because
Yeah, right. She's a little late to the game.
But because she didn't have that time, she have to
Right.
live through that experience. So what I'm saying, when we're talking about Meghan Markle, maybe we should have more empathy for her.
By the way, I still have not gone through my little girl phase. I'm looking forward to that.
You're what?
My little girl phase. I haven't gone through my little girl phase yet. Have you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
Little girl
what-
phase? Like,
Yeah, I have not gone through my little girl phase yet. I don't know. That I
It's
don't-
little girls hiding inside of you. That's what you're
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what is what can we learn from Meghan and Harry? I mean, you said that Harry and Meghan are a perfect match. Is this a common thing? The narcissist and the borderline narcissist.
This is the most stable couple. It's not an easy relationship. They have a lot of things to learn in their life, but they are feeding their own problems, basically. And the way how everyone is treating them is not helpful. Can I give you my little experience when I just started my study of psychology, and I came from very violent and difficult surrounding. I've been through the Chechen war. I've seen a lot of things in my life, and I just don't want to go over there. And when I came to some normal psychology school in America, people, they didn't have that experience. So when they will tell me that they're crying because they have some minor disagreement with their mom, I was like dismissing their suffering like it's nothing compared to what I've been through. And my supervisor, she told me, Natalie, you're wrong. Suffering is suffering, and every suffering is painful at the same level for the person who's experiencing that. So that's what I want to say. When Tori is disliking someone, try to put yourself in their shoes. Don't dismiss their acting like something that violates your rules. Feel for them. And when we're looking at Meghan Markle, that is maybe doing something not exactly right, but she has all her life ahead of her and work through her pain. Because when she said something about Archie at very, very rare occasion when she was talking about her son, she said, I never want to hurt him like I was hurt in my childhood. That will tell you that she's suffering. And when you see a suffering person in front of you, don't hate that person. Just feel for that person. Be empathetic. Be emotional and be accepting.
Oh, all right.
That would be my lesson.
But as I said on our other podcast that we do with Scott Ritter, I said, life isn't worth can't mock somebody. And somebody made a, what do you call a meme out of it too. So I don't know. Now you want me to suddenly treat people with decency. By the way, let me just tell folks, we do that podcast with Scott Ritter every Friday night, usually. But this week, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Where did I put that? There it is. This week, we're going to do it on Thursday instead of Friday. So I know some of our audience is here from Scott. Scott has a pedicure appointment Friday night, and he just won't break it. So.
Come on.
So we took a personality test ourselves at Natalia's urging, and I don't know if we're narcissists or not, but what was the? I'll tell you why I was immensely annoyed by this test, Natalia. But you told me it was you told me it was brief, and okay, so I'm not annoyed with you because of opinion. But then I go to the website and it says it's going to take 5 minutes. And there's 59 questions. How are you going to get, and they're asking you to think back to your earliest childhood memories. So how are you going to go through 59 questions and think about it in 5 minutes? That's 5 seconds per question. So basically, they're liars. I'm
Okay.
getting vulnerable, sharing my innermost feelings with a website that's lying to me. That's not a good way to start a relationship with a liar.
Uh-huh.
How long do you think, seriously, if for the test to be meaningful, don't you have to give each question some thought and think back to your childhood? Isn't that the
Did
idea?
you notice that those questions were kind of repetitive?
Oh, so you
Yes.
think they should go quicker after a while?
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily,
So what
because
was your result?
first they
Pardon me.
ask about your mother, then about your father. So I have different thoughts about my mother and father. So I have to take time.
Uh-huh.
Maybe is my life more complicated than other people's? Is that why other people
Then
can go
they
through
ask you
quicker?
about your relationship.
Right, and
Yeah,
it's
and
all
what
different.
was
So
your
you're saying that it's repetitive, but it's relationship with different people. So each one takes time.
Yeah.
To think about.
So what was your result if you dare to share?
Easily annoyed, obviously.
No, anxious, avoidant. What was that?
There it is. Look, secure. I'm secure, so don't mess with me.
Are you secure?
Yeah, well, that's what it says. I'm not going to argue with these people. They're professionals, even though they're liars, but they're professionals. It's the text is too hard to read. I thought it might be interesting, but
Yeah, I got the secure too. This is a little bit
Guys,
blown up.
this is unique. We have 3 secure people on the screen right now.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't think that I had secure attachment. I always thought that I had like a avoidant attachment.
So what that red dot on your picture? What
What
that?
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the score for mother.
Yeah, and what they're saying, because I cannot read it, it's too small for me.
dismissing attachment.
It just has like
Avoidance.
the score that I got, like anxiety 1.33, avoidance 4.33.
I'm wondering, Jeff, where is your red dot? In which square?
Where is my red dot? Let me go back and find my red dot. Hold on here. Where is my red dot?
I think it was
Where?
right up there. It's in that square that you just passed.
Oh, I already passed it. Where is my red
There we
dot?
go, right there.
That one. Oh, you blew yours up? Is that it?
Yeah, I blew. I
Oh, you're doing fancy graphics. I can't read it. It's too small.
I mean, it looks like it's up at the upper left, like the mid upper left.
I
So
think
it's
what
not
it says is you are unusually flawless. Should worship. No. I don't know.
I really.
It's too small.
So, our did you notice that our red dot was not in that secure square? It was somewhere outside.
Yes.
Notice that? We all have some mommy issue, even though our upbringing. Seriously,
We all have what issues?
mommy issue.
Oh, mom issues. Yeah, I'll
believe
tell you
that.
my
I
mom
believe
issue.
Okay.
Well,
tell
this
us.
was actually, well, I was kind of surprised. I mean, I guess I learned something about, maybe it's not that important, but, stuff like, did you get attention and, feel abandoned and all that? All great. I always got all the clothes treatment and, so forth and so on. But I don't think that my mother was very good at like nurturing things that I really cared about. It tended to be too much of what she wanted, take the saxophone lessons because she liked the saxophone. I wanted drum. Buy this clothes because she likes the clothes, not mine. And, I felt, basically like overly protective and too strict and blah, blah, blah. So those were my issues with my mother. But I don't know, as a kid, I was greatly annoyed by it. But it seems like I've turned, according to this test, as an adult, all that negative stuff wasn't that bad because she gave me the nurture, the other stuff were good. Am I interpreting it correctly? Does that make sense?
I think you do. And I think it's very important to mention that 3 of us, we have secure attachment, which is very rare, which indicates that we have something in common. For example, sitting on that screen and talking to the audience and sharing our thoughts is not an easy thing. And it's for people who don't have fear prevailing over everything they do in their life. So we have 3 probably very strong personality here based on the test that we're just discussing. But every one of us, we have some little mommy issue, which we drag with us through our life, like you just mentioned, and it was like natural. You wanted to share it. I'm wondering what was Tori mom issue.
Well,
Let me guess, breastfed until she was 18, and the neighbors.
I was not breastfed. My mom did not breastfeed me or my sisters.
Oh, it was the opposite.
yeah,
Failed to breastfeed.
My mom, she made a lot of money. She was a working woman, businesswoman. She was like a boss lady. So I like to say that my dad was the more feminine of my two parents, and my mom was the more masculine. My mom, in the sense that she was more controlled. She wasn't someone that I would really go to for to talk about my issues. Like I had a kind of an estranged relationship with my mom up until like my mid-20s, maybe. So, and that was because she grounded us a lot. She would yell. Those are the negatives. And my mom, she was always buying things for us. She was always, she was involved in our lives in terms of like sports and academics and stuff like that. Like she wanted us to succeed and things like that. But I didn't get much warmth from her. I got more warmth from my dad.
See, Tori and Jeff both complaining that mothers were strong and powerful and maybe didn't pay that much attention. And
no, I didn't say that. I said the opposite.
Okay. Yeah, she was dictating you what to do. But the research shows that people of children of an independent woman have tendency, like 90%, to grow up into strong, independent personalities. This is number one. So
right.
That's why you are two working together and you are sitting on the screen. Also, the other thing, when Tori said that she was not breastfeeded, we're going to the theory of Freud, who's saying that everything is going from our early childhood. And we have obsessions related to our body parts. For example, if you are not breastfeeded, you might have some obsession about talking. And the thing that you are sitting
about
in front of the microphone and you want to talk to the audience.
It's like an oral fixation, right?
Yes, that might be the result of your not being fed by your mother.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's
that microphone is like a big black nipple, like Meghan Markle's nipple.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that stuff because the mother is just such a huge aspect to our lives. I mean, because I had like when it comes to like oral fixation, like I was an alcoholic. I smoked a lot of weed. It was very like I liked that kind of habit.
Have something in your mouth.
Yes. Yeah, so it makes sense to me because you're trying to soothe yourself.
Are you going to send us a bill, Natalia, for this therapy?
I am loving this. Everyone, yeah.
I hope you are not offended by my comments because it's just psychology. What I can.
Oh no, I love it.
Yeah. I also have my mom red dot somewhere outside of the secure box.
I have a different theory about why
okay.
I have a need to be heard. Like I don't think the microphone is an oral fixation, but like I was saying before, my mother was like, it's not so much what I wanted, it was what she wanted, and so I have a need to sort of like be heard. That's
so
why
it's your rebellious part of you.
It's my what?
Rebellious part.
I guess so. I guess you could say that's rebellious.
Argumentative.
I also think it's being a good. Yes. I also think it's part of being a good citizen is to interact with people and hash things out. That's how you figure out how to live and how to not only on a personal level but a societal level. So I don't know.
I agree.
So sometimes I guess the things that drive us psychologically wind up to pay dividends, even though you might call it a silver lining, right?
Yeah.
Or am I just rationalizing? Am I trying to turn my negative
Jeff,
personality
I
trait
was
into
gonna
a
play the
I would
card
say
that
it's
you
a
were
little
set.
bit judgmental. Are you saying that silent people are not necessarily good citizens?
Well, I'm not saying that they're necessarily bad citizens, but part of being a good citizen, or one way to be a good citizen, is to talk to other people.
Especially in our
exchange
type of
ideas.
country. I mean, we
Yeah.
rely on like collective understanding of what's going on. And we
What
can
if
only
it's
do that by
scary?
talking with each other.
Tell me, what if it's scary?
If it's scary,
What if, yes, what if you pay price for that?
well, that's why I think that people aren't going to do it because of that, because there's a price to pay, especially today. Like you're going to lose friends, you're going to maybe lose some family connection,
Job?
you might even lose your job. Right. And so I think that to me, what I always come back to is that you need a connection to something bigger than yourself. You can't only think about what your contemporaries are. Like you have to feel connected to like 500 years in the future, or else you are not going to make the sacrifices that you need to make for us to maneuver out of the problems that we have with any success.
Well, also, I don't know if I would use the word scary, but I'm reluctant to reveal myself to certain people in certain situations. I mean, because
And what
there
would
are,
be your reason? Can you give us an
because
example?
well, I don't know about a specific example, but the general reason would be because it might be used against me.
Can I give you some example from my life from last week?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Guys, I paid a price for saying what I'm thinking. I was invited for an interview for a position of dean of some law school. I was surprised. And it's an honor to be even considered for that kind of position. So I definitely said yes to the interview. And I was interviewed by 6 different people. I'm not mentioning that school, absolutely. And everything was going really, really good until the moment when one guy, elderly guy, probably the most important guy in the whole group, asked me a question. What do I think about our actions in Ukraine right now, considering probably my Russian background? I was like shocked. Is that really a question you're supposed to ask during the interview? Seriously.
Yeah, I know.
So I was like, and I said something very vague and very, I do have my position, it doesn't matter. So I said, I support our support of democracy, something like that. But clearly the guy was not satisfied with that. And although other people, they were keep asking me some professional questions, he kept asking me a question about Ukraine and Russia. And he wanted to know who is on the right side of the story. And he pushed me like 3 times, asking the same question in from different angle. And that turned me off or on, depending, because I was thinking, okay, I really like that position. Maybe I want to take it, but
So he was doing that because you're Russian, so he felt he could get
I
some
don't know what was
insight
his
from you. Then?
motivation, or he just wanted to have a conversation on that topic. I don't know. Maybe it was inappropriate time, but he pushed me to say something that I really think about it. And
Well, that would be an example of where you may not want to reveal yourself
and I knew
because it
at
could be
that
used
time.
against you, like you might not get the job or something.
Exactly. At that time, exactly, I knew. I open my mouth right now, and that will cost me the job, even if there might be, they will not be offering that anyway. And I couldn't be silent. I couldn't. So I said what I thought about it, and I never heard from them ever again. So that's the price we pay.
Well, no,
Right,
I respect that, Natalia, because I lean towards that too. Is like you want to be honest. You shouldn't be self-censoring yourself, because it's only going to make things worse. Yeah, I'm there with you. If I don't get a job for being honest, if they ask me, then the job's not meant for me.
Exactly.
So we are all secure, and do secure people generally get along with each other, or is it more of a balance thing, like you were saying before with Harry and Meghan? One's the narcissist, the other isn't.
It's
Are
easier.
secure people competitive with each other, or do they
Easier for
kind
us.
of like on?
It's easier for us to communicate among ourselves because we basically using words with the same meaning. If someone would have an anxious relationship here, anxious structure of their mind, it would be difficult because we would be talking about the same things using the same language, but we will be meaning different things. So our communication would be much more complicated. That's the reason. And why we want to know who we are, because we want to understand if our relationship with people around us is going the wrong way all the time. We want to understand what it is that we are doing wrong. Or if you are a boss and you have some people working for you and you want to make sure that you get the best out of each person, you want to know their attachment style so you can differentiate your treatment of that people according to their personal needs. But it's hard.
All right, so some people may just be seeing you for the first time. You were on once before with us, so we should probably explain. We're flashing your website on now. People are seeing Natalia Foley Law. She's talking like she's a shrink. Is she a lawyer or is she a shrink? You're kind of both, aren't you, Natalia?
Yeah, I am kind of both. I'm an attorney and I'm a doctor candidate and working on my dissertation on psychotherapy.
In dreams, right?
In dreams interpretation, yeah.
Well, that's the area of psychotherapy, I guess. Let's do a hybrid thing. Maybe do a session all at once, right? You can't.
No, I can, because you know what's the difference between shrink and attorney, and it's very complicated. When you go to attorney, if you saw some show, Monk, do you know that personality?
Yes.
Yeah, it's defective detective. And he is sitting in front of his psychotherapist and asking him a question, and therapist saying, Adrian, I cannot answer your question. The answer is with you. And Monk is getting very frustrated. He's saying, no, the answer is with you. When you tell me, then the answer will be with me. So the point is, a therapist will never say, good therapist will never say to his client what to do, because it never works. You have to, as a client, you have to come up with the insight and understand yourself better. And the role of the therapist to guide you through that process. As an attorney, you have to tell your client what to do. So you see how different it is?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody, when you're practicing psychotherapy, if somebody sues you for malpractice, you will be very well equipped to defend yourself. Look at it that way.
That's true. Hopefully I'll never get to that place.
Yeah, I don't see that happening a lot.
Yeah.
Look at the.
I'm with hair.
That's supposed to be a picture of Trump. So instead of I'm with her. Somebody gave me that a long time ago. All right. Did we cover it all? What do you think? Is there anything more to be said? How about Thursday night?
God, but
This week, Scott Ritter asked the inspector on Thursday night. Hey, what do you think of the war, Natalia?
oh gosh.
Getting in more trouble. Getting
Yeah.
more.
It's
What
very-
if we have all these Russian people in our life now? We've got Erica
I know.
producing us. We've got Natalia.
It's so hard. It's so hard. Like my family, you know, Scott Ritter was talking about it. He was saying, scratch every Russian, you'll find Ukrainian over there. Scratch Ukrainian, you'll find Russian. It's hard because my grandfather from Kharkov, which you know is a disputed territory. I was born in Moscow. My grandmother from Tbilisi, which is Georgia. So I have attachments in my family to different parts of Soviet Union, how it
Yeah.
was before, and of course I love
Same
Ukraine. My son was living in Ukraine and going to the private school over there in Melitopol, which is also disputed territory right now. I feel so hard about it. My heart is covered in tears when I'm seeing Russian people fighting Russian people, and
I can imagine. This experience with Scott is really getting me to think about my roots too. My ancestors are from Russia as well.
What's your roots to Russia?
My paternal grandfather is from Kiev, And my maternal grandfather is from, I think it's pronounced Veleka. It's near Minsk. Something like Veleki.
Belarus.
Yeah. And also my maternal grandmother is from Russia, but my mother, who's 93 now, can't remember what part. So
Have you ever visited Russia or Ukraine?
no, I might now, but because of the podcast with Scott being so popular, I may have it to go with a disguise, or I'll be swarmed like Beatlemania.
And how the whole situation makes you feel? What is your take? How you feel personally?
It's making me just think about people in Russia on a very human level, because I'm actually dealing with them. It's happening. I get a lot of emails from people through the podcast with Scott, and I'm going, and it's like sort of like I've said this before. There are things that we know on one level, but to really grasp it on a deeper level. So it's not like I ever had any hostility towards them or not. I kind of already knew that they were just like us, but because of actually interacting with them, I have now kind of a deeper appreciation about how they're just like us. And they're showering me with warmth. How can you not like people who are showering you with warmth?
Yeah, but you probably have some deep genetically related pain, because nothing you can do about the situation, just to see how it's like unfolding through blood. And by the way, people having Russian roots, they all feel the same. Like Elon Musk, you know that his family roots coming from Odessa, which is Russian, Ukrainian city, depending how you look at it.
He's been tweeting about it the last few days. Yeah.
And he's trying to interfere somehow, because I think he has the same pain as you share and I share.
I think people are afraid of nuclear war too. Like they just want things to cool down. And there's so many people that are just carelessly encouraging it.
As Mike Cernovich said about Elon Musk, he said, this is a good example of how somebody who's really, really bright, but doesn't have much knowledge in that particular area, how that person looks at a problem. That's what we're seeing from Elon Musk right
That's
now.
true. But why he's trying to interfere? Because he has Russian roots. And when you're talking about Russians, Scott Ritter, by the way, mentioned that several times. He mentioned a thing that we call mysterious Russian soul.
Oh.
And when you're talking about Russians, when you take in consideration all the factors of that war going on, you never take in consideration that mysterious Russian soul, but it's a huge factor. And that's why situation in Russia is so unpredictable, because that mysterious Russian soul is in action, and it's one of the variables that
he does talk about it in kind of like mythical, poetic terms. Like I even asked him last week, I noticed that he refers to Mother Russia. Not that that's hard to understand, but I just sort of noticed he was saying that. You wouldn't necessarily say like Mother America or something.
Wow, Jeff, you are touching on such an important topic. Can I just have a few minutes just telling you why it's so important?
My pedicure appointment is coming up, but okay.
Do you understand that Russian language and English language are very different? And I'll tell you in which way. For example, when you have noon in English, it doesn't have a gender attached to it. What would be the gender of your desk? What would be the gender of your lamp? What would be the gender of your book? You don't have genders. In Russian language, every noun has a gender. And Russia is why it's Mother Russia? Because it's female in Russian language. So desk, table would be him. Lamp would be she. It gives you completely different perception of the word when you identify some item as she or he. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not like Russia has a different meaning. I mean, Russia and Mother Russia is the same thing, except that when you say Mother Russia, it evokes.
She's mother. She's mother because she's woman. Russia is mother because she's woman. We also have the other term, which would be fatherland, and Отечество would be a man, but we don't use it. So it's different places where we use it. In addition to that, why Russians very hard for Americans to understand, because Russians, they have modifications of the same word. Like we have 7 modifications of the same word, depending in which place you put it in a sentence. So the way how Russians are thinking is not linear. We are not thinking we need to go from point A to point B, and this is the straight line. This is American thinking. And why it's American thinking, why it's important, because do you know what is the biggest expert that we have in America, that we sell outside of the world because we're totally the best in it? It's American management. American management is logical. Russians are not logical by definition because their language is not logical. And that's why our perception of the war and American perception of the war would be completely different, even though specialists will be talking the same language. Russian will
Did
be...
you say management?
Management? American management.
Is that what you said is our biggest export, management?
Yes. Yes.
I've never heard that said before.
Yes. Look at our schools. Why people are out of all schools in the world coming to American schools? Because they are taught here how to think logically and think about different languages. For example, Arabic language, we read from left to right, they read from right to left. So, and they have an enormous number of modifications of their words. So they are not as logical as we are. And they're coming here, they're learning because it's an incredible way to achieve things in life. Chinese people, their language, I don't want to even describe it, so complicated, right? Yeah. Visually complicated, logically complicated, different from English. They're coming here. Why? They have their own universities, and believe it, they're good. But they're coming here because they want to learn how to be logical, how to be rational, how to reach from point A to point B in the possible best and fastest way. That's what we are good at as Americans. And Russians, they are not good at it. Their management is very bad. Russians can start a thing and never know how to finish the thing. They don't have that logical system. However, because of their mysterious Russian soul, they eventually get to the point B by some unpredictable ways. That's my take on the war.
Well, I have no reason to disbelieve you, but I've never heard it put that way before. What do you think, Tori?
No, that was fascinating. Yeah,
That's why we have Natalia.
But that was really interesting. Yeah, I can see it.
I think we should call it a show. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Thanks to Eric Foya for the behind-the-scenes work. We appreciate it. Thank you, Natalia. Thank you, Tori.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You're welcome. And thanks to our beloved audience. See you next Tuesday at the same time, and see you Thursday night, this week only, with Ask the Inspector.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. It's a clown world, miss. Clown world. Clown world. Clown world.
Come on, man.